Review Board meeting. Before we get started, I'm going to ask Jane to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and for the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get started tonight, I would like to welcome our newest member of the Design Review Board, Greg Danielle.
Thank you.
Greg, welcome.
Look forward to serving.
Great, thank you, sir. Okay, and also just want to let everybody know these meetings are televised live, so when you approach the podium, please tell us who you are, the business you represent, and you can lay your plans out on the table. And please try to speak loud into the mic so the viewers at home can hear you. All right? So before we jump ahead to our applications, I don't know if everybody had a chance to review the minutes from last month.
Yes.
Would somebody like to make a motion for approval?
I motion to approve.
We hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. All right. Okay. So tonight we're going to start off with DRB 2024-14, the application of Triple Crown Restaurant at 579 East Lancaster Avenue for revised wall signage and some revisions to monument signs. And just so we know, this is zoned the PB, public business area. So, hello there. How are you?
Hi, good.
Good. Would it help you out to use a hand mic?
No, I'm good.
Okay, just try to speak into the mic if you could, please. Thank you.
I'm loud.
Okay.
I'm Valerie Rogers with Starlight National Signs.
Okay.
And this is Carrie with Fearless Restaurant Group.
Hi.
And we're here to, I guess,
Is the mic on? It should have a little red light. Hello?
Okay.
is this thing on?
All right.
So I'm supposed to be over here, right?
Yeah, Valerie, you know what? Maybe it would be easier for you rather than. Okay.
Thank
you.
Okay. So we're here continuing, I guess, the approval for Triple Crown Restaurant, Event Center, and Gardens. And to that end, I'm sorry, with all the papers out, it's a little confusing. So we'll just go one at a time here. So the facade change was approved with the November meeting. And apparently the Triple Crown sign was also approved with the November meeting, I believe. Mm-hmm. So we're adding restaurant and bar because the Triple Crown will be a restaurant, an event center, and gardens. So we're proposing.
I have that on the last packet we had. I brought in the old packet. The restaurant and bar's on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, okay.
Right, so we're proposing to add the restaurant and bar tagline, and that will be in 8-inch letters, and they will be halo illuminated also to match Triple Crown, and in the same brushed brass finish as Triple Crown. So to that end, that's to designate the restaurant, obviously, because there's going to be the restaurant entrance and then also the event entrance.
Valerie, do you have a copy, or possibly it's a copy Jane has and I have, what we approved at, I believe it was a December meeting?
Yes.
Do you have that copy, just so we
I
can see the
do.
change?
I do.
Okay. Because I think.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, if you
present
could put it up on the screen.
that? Okay.
So you're allowed 60 square feet, so you're well below.
Yeah.
But just,
Yeah, obviously, there's multiple entrances around the circumference of the building.
Right.
We're going to be utilizing parking going all the way around the building as well.
Okay.
So I think we decided to change this just so people knew where to go. And when we have to direct groups of people, they'll know what entrances to use.
So apparently, Joe Birch from the
Right.
Group, he presented, can you see that? He presented this from, this design for the facade, and then our sign is this, but obviously this is one of the first, architectural drawings. And we didn't exactly have all the details at that point regarding the, tile and whatever other features and materials were going to be used on the building. So that was a little larger. So that was 15-inch letters and a 17-inch crown. And we reduced it now to a 12-inch high copy with a 14-inch crown, so that Triple Crown Restaurant and Bar and the event sign that we're going to propose, it is all under 60 square feet.
Right.
And it all works.
Mhm.
I mean, it's all fine.
I'm trying to think, guys, refresh my memory. Did we ask the applicant to go to the zoning hearing board because it exceeded 15 feet from grade, or was it within the 15 feet from grade? Do you remember
I'd have
that?
to check the minutes.
It's 15,
Yeah.
but we don't exceed.
Okay, it's within the
It says
15.
13.45.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know the original, because remember, it sat pretty high off the grade. And
Yeah, I don't recall it being an issue. But
Okay.
You know, they sit down.
Yeah, I know, they're
Yeah.
kind of in a
So-
ditch a little bit there, yeah. So, okay, just want to make sure.
Right. So then we put the address on the left-hand side there, 593, because the hotel is 591.
591.
And then the restaurant will be 593.
Mhm.
And then the entrance to the right, which now says 595. Here's the, I don't know if this is confusing, but here's a picture from today. And there's our new entrance for the restaurant.
Okay.
So the
Actually,
595 entrance is closer to Radnor Chester Road, if I'm getting my bearings correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you.
And here's the 595 entrance.
Thank you.
And we also have kind of a rudimentary site plan also, but that was presented with the package.
So the 595 entrance is access to, obviously, Bagis's offices are upstairs, any other upstairs tenants. Actually, Fearless Restaurants, we have an office on the ground floor. That entrance will be used as an event entrance, if for some reason, because the ballroom is in the back, we may need multiple entrances for people that, for some reason, somebody could be in this room that's coming off of the hotel lobby. And so we'll be using it as an event entrance as well. So we wanted to have direction for customers as they're coming in, so they know where they're going.
so let's go back and look at the new sign.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it's Halo Channel letters, okay?
Right, on restaurant and bar.
Yes,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Is the board okay with that?
I think we approved it in December.
Okay, so it meets the square footage requirements and everything, 12-inch letters on the Triple Crown, 8-inch letters on the
Right,
restaurant and bar.
Crown now is,
Okay.
we reduced it to 12-inch
Right.
letters.
Mhm.
The crown is 14 inches.
Right,
And it's now, it's at 13.45 now.
Right.
4.5 inches.
okay.
Yeah.
One question before you proceed. On the application, the applicant name, Triple
Yes.
Crown dash Restaurant Events and Garden, is that the full name?
Yeah, the logo is,
I'm sorry. Hey, Valerie, can you use that mic, please? Yeah, thanks.
sorry. The logo here is Triple Crown Events Restaurant Garden. That's
Is that the
logo.
business name?
The business name is Secretariat LLC. Yeah, the business name is Secretariat LLC.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Are you guys okay with the restaurant bar?
Didn't Secretariat know?
Tim, I know.
In this situation, I actually think it's not so much a sign for that as it is more directional.
Yeah.
It is directional, yeah. That was the
I think that's
intention.
really the use of here is
The
less
restaurant.
than advertising what the business is and telling you where the entrance for what component of the business is.
You're talking about the restaurant and bar?
The restaurant and bar
Yeah.
versus the events.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
That's how I see it. It's not so much as the name of the business.
okay.
It's well, obviously we need, there's the restaurant, so people need to know where to go for the restaurant when they're coming to the restaurant. When there's an event, you need to know, it's gonna be 100 to 500 people, they need to know where to go for the event entrance, for the venue entrance. So that's the reason why we did that, and then we wanted both entrances to we wanted both entrances to, be similar, so we're removing the 595 address and then putting a new 595 address in brush brass again on the left-hand side. And then we are, again, just to match the branding again, we have 2 crowns for Triple Crown, and then just the word events.
No, I think the one for the events makes perfect sense to me if we happen to have that there, so you know where to go for the events.
Oh, yeah.
Right, because the name of the restaurant is the name of the restaurant, so if you're going to the restaurant, you would go to where the Triple Crown is.
Right.
If you're going for an event, then I think it helps that, but that's my only
Yeah.
perspective.
There's going to be like 5 entrances. There'll be 5 entrances. Depending upon where you're parking, when we have the gardens in the back completed with the tent and the conservatory, we obviously will be utilizing parking back there, so we may actually have an entrance in the back. But that would be, because people aren't going to park all the way and then walk all the way to then go back out. Because there's, the hotel has multiple entrances as well on the west side of the building. I think a lot of people will actually park on the west side to come up the stairs to the lobby, because you can get into the restaurant from the lobby as well. So there's going to...
Where do you envision the main entrance for events to be?
I think the main event will be the 595, the events entrance would be the main event. The only time that may change is if people are outside. Like if we had multiple events at the same time.
Well, then would you have multiple event signs on the building? Is that, like, you're going to have multiple spots that say events?
No, the addresses were important for our sales team to be like, you're going to be using the 595 event entrance. You're going to, there are some, like you may have people use the hotel lobby if they were using that boardroom. That's in the hotel. You know what I mean? So there's going to be, people are going to go to the hotel, people are going to go to the restaurant, people are going to go to the events. And then eventually, when that garden's completed, there will be probably a back gate, and it would just have a sign, a ground sign or a directional sign on the gate that says events or says gardens.
I have a quick question. Okay, this is the Radnor Hotel.
Correct.
Is the only Radnor Hotel sign on the monument?
No,
They have,
No.
They have one, I believe, on that.
on the west side entrance,
passage.
on the west entrance, there is an awning in the parking lot that says the Radnor Hotel on the
canopy.
awning. It's a canopy. And then there's the 2 monument sides on the street. They also have an address sign, 591.
To answer your question, there's a sign on, I think there's like an overpass or a little canopy that extends out, and they've got a small, the
So
Radnor
that's just,
Hotel
that
sign.
will remain? You're not
Yes.
changing any of that?
That's not changing.
No.
Yeah.
It's just one sign.
Well, that's why it's a wall sign. I think you're right.
What's that, Tim?
If it's considered a wall sign, then you may be right. As to one sign.
Yeah, according to code,
Yeah, I'm
under
aware. I'm
planned
aware.
business, you're allowed one wall
One
sign
sign,
per
but-
business.
Right,
So-
but the events does meet the requirements for a instructional sign.
Well,
We're under 30 square feet,
but you can't be over 6 feet high.
but no, it says or, not and, or.
Let's see.
Here, I have the ordinance right here. I studied it.
Okay.
It
I
says-
like it.
It says or, 6 feet high,
All right.
not and or.
Okay. All right, let's put that on the back burner for a second, so.
Which section's that?
It really is key for the people to know where to go. We don't want 300 people traipsing through the restaurant looking for the venue. I mean, it really is. It doesn't do us any good to have events. It's not branding, so it only really is to direct people and instruct people where to go.
I was wondering if it in fact is an instructional sign, maybe it should say event entrance, or.
I thought that was kind of redundant,
Yeah,
you know?
And we were trying to keep consistency in the,
Yeah, it's right here.
The letters
understand.
and,
Sign shall
Yeah.
not exceed 30 square feet in sign area or a sign height of 6 feet above existing grade.
Right, so you're
Subsection
talking about whether it's,
280-122-9C.
I wouldn't say that's disjunctive there, I'd say it's actually not. Because it wouldn't make sense for you to be able to have a 100-foot square foot sign if it's under 6 feet. Just because it's under 6 feet doesn't mean you can have an infinite amount of square footage of a sign.
Yeah.
Just like
But
if
it's
you're
a
above 6 feet, doesn't mean that,
I just
exactly.
read it like I say it.
Well, yeah, and there are two ways to read the word. It's either disjunctive
Oh, there's a
or.
million ways to read an ordinance.
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty clear, though.
I would interpret that to be both, it needs to be both no more than 30 square feet and also no higher than 6 feet on
Yeah,
the ground.
that's kind of what I,
Doesn't say and/or, though.
yeah.
Doesn't say and.
I'm sorry, what's that, Valerie?
Doesn't say and. Like I said, it's only to instruct people where to go. It doesn't do us, it's not branding for us. I mean, we only made it relative to branding, just to have some continuity here with
Well,
the
if it's not
branding.
branding for you, then there's no need to put it up there and have it be so full. You could put something on the side, you could have it be 6 feet high and say, this is the
Where,
instructional sign. of
where
where
should,
it's
if
located next to the door.
if between 1 and 300 people are coming for an event, do we want them all going through the hotel? Do we want them going through the
7
restaurant?
inches.
Well, we just heard that they might be going through one of 6
Wandering
different entrances.
aimlessly where to go?
Well, it depends on, you have to
Well, right now,
realize-
you're suggesting that there's going to be multiple entrances to begin with, so why is there going to be one that's identified as
I
events when there's
didn't know
multiple
about any of
locations
these
where events could be
entrances.
going in?
The-
I mean,
don't
we
know.
can get into this debate all night long, but like, I
I'm
don't
not
think that gets us
debating, I'm
anywhere.
just-
So
I'm sorry, the mic, please. Yeah.
Here you go.
So the event space in the ballrooms has divisible walls, okay? So the main first room that is behind the restaurant is, if there were people on this side, the only way they can access that is either walking through the restaurant, walking through the hotel, or walking through the west side lobby. Because there's now a new hallway that goes in back to that room, okay? That also will have access to go downstairs. If there were multiple events, which we often have right now, and then somebody booked the other side of the room, they have to go through 595 to get that. They will have their own restrooms, they have their own, passageways. There's also event spaces downstairs. There's a boardroom downstairs. So many times people use that, So we either are gonna have to send them, I think for us, from a branding perspective of what looks good, it was more, because we had lots of arguments about what to put on this sign, if we needed to put anything at all.
Right.
But just putting 595 on it is kind of, redundant. So,
Yeah.
like,
To be honest, I like it better than 595. I mean, at first, I didn't love it, but, I want to see the business and the hotel to succeed. So, I'm in favor of it, to be honest, so.
And I, from the start, agreed with you that there is utility to stating that it's there.
Yeah.
The question now is if it actually complies with the ordinance.
Right, that's the bottom line.
And so, to the extent that it does, that's not a determination that we're going to be making here. It's not our job as this body to make that final determination.
All right.
We leave that up to the
Kevin.
office to figure that out. So
Right.
from the aesthetics, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I
If
agree.
it's functional, if it's a permitted sign, then I'm fine with it. If it's not, then that's something that's for a different board to
It's
review.
also well below the street level grade,
Yeah.
so the building is already obscure. So I think it serves a purpose.
No, I agree.
That's just my opinion.
I think that, and I disagree. I think the font, the size of the letters is a little bit too big.
It's
It's almost
actually,
bigger than restaurant and bar, or whatever.
it's kind of hard to, don't let this kind of fool you, because it's 23 inches high. And so basically, we're going to have 6 inches above the events and 6 inches below. So it's really, we try to make it as small as we could to be able to light it. But to be able to illuminate the crowns, I had to make them at least, because of the thin points, I had to make them at least 11 inches high. So we did want them smaller, but I can't illuminate them then. I need at least 3/4 inch.
Do you think the crowns larger would have an
We try
impact?
to make them small, like as small as we could, but 11 inches is kind of the minimum I could make it.
But if the crown's
to
enlarged, do you think the
illuminate.
font could reduce?
The font, we have Marty kind of wanted, the owner kind of wanted it to stand, the crown smaller than the word events. Basically, we have events at 11 and a half inches, and the crown's at 11, but we can make it all 11, it's not a problem.
I'm not opposed to the different heights.
Just quick, is the font
I'm
that
sorry,
says
Greg?
event the same font style as the Triple Crown?
I'm sorry.
It's the same font, yes, it's all Egyptian, Bodini, Egyptian Pro. Yes,
Okay.
it's, I know. but-
I was looking at this, and I know you guys are a little bit of quandary here, but I hate to say it, but I think what you could do is possibly on the facade is put, entrance and call it an instructional sign and be below the 6 feet. And just have a black canopy up there. Because you're, like I say, you're only allowed one sign in
Right,
planned business.
right, exactly.
So it'd be nice to put Triple Crown up there, but then you have two signs and you're not allowed to do that. So, like I say, I don't know if the board would agree, but if you, like I say, we could call it an instructional sign, something to the left of the door, like I say, below 30 square feet, not above 6 feet from grade, call it an instructional sign
Right,
to direct people into the building.
right.
I don't know if
Yeah,
that
I
would
mean,
work or not.
Kevin did peek at that before, but it was when they weren't quite sure what to call it. They were going to call it ballrooms maybe, or banquets,
Mm-hmm.
and Kevin had said maybe it could be an instructional sign if it meets
Right.
the ordinance, so. He peeked at it, I think Joe Birch sent it over to him at one point,
Okay.
so,
All right. So where are you guys in the process? I mean, are you close to opening up, or could we ask you to come back next month, or for this particular sign, kind of figure out?
I'd love to see you next month.
Right, I'm
So
sorry.
we're currently doing events. The restaurant will not open probably till June-ish.
Okay. All right, so how do you guys want
But
to proceed with
they
this?
they do have events going on.
Okay,
Well, I guess I would see how the board currently sits. I mean, I'm in
Yeah.
favor of it. Is anyone else?
I'm fine with it as
Yeah,
long
I
as
am.
it meets the code. So
Yeah.
like, I would suggest that we do a contingent approval of it, subject to code review, like make sure it's something that they're permitted. If they're permitted to have this, if that's a determination that's made beyond our pay grade.
right. And if they're
I'm
not,
fine with the aesthetics of it.
and if they're not, we'll see them next month or
Well, then
at
they
a
don't
future
have,
meeting.
exactly, then they don't have
Yeah.
the approval.
Okay. You guys are good with that?
There's,
There's just more to this. I wish
Yeah,
the
we
letters
understand.
were 8 inches,
sorry.
but that's only 3 inches.
Okay.
I'm gonna, we talking about the monument signs?
Not,
or is
not
that
just
we
yet.
done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, okay.
All right,
So,
I'm good with
Tim,
that.
I don't know if you guys heard what Tim just said? Are we good with that? You guys agreeable to that?
Why don't you repeat it, Tim?
Yeah, so what we'll do is, I'll propose that we would do a contingent approval of the application as it is now, subject to the review, to make sure that it's actually a permitted sign. That's something that's outside the scope
Okay.
of our purview right
Right.
here to determine that.
Right.
What we like about it is the aesthetics of it. We would approve the aesthetics of it.
And the functionality.
And-
It makes
yeah.
sense.
Okay. And if not,
Well, if not, then that would be a determination that's made beyond us, and then you just wouldn't have any approval on that sign. You have to either figure out what you want to do with the new sign there, or come back to us with a different sign.
There's nothing else really to put there, other than,
okay,
No, there's the 595 there now.
Yeah.
I think that's what's there now. Is
But
it's-
we would remove it because,
Yeah.
I mean, to be consistent with all of the lettering across, I mean, all of the addresses across the restaurant, the businesses.
so you said that entrance is more than just the events. You said Steve Aegis has offices through that entrance?
Yeah, it's a back entrance for the tenants who are in that building. Yes.
Would that be a little confusing to people coming to the offices?
no, because
No?
they know the 595.
Let's hope not.
So all those businesses that are on the side below the upstairs offices, they all have front entrances, but some of them have back doors there for
Okay.
deliveries.
Gotcha.
Some of them use and some of them don't, but basically there is an elevator for the upstairs, which I think one office is empty.
Okay.
Got lost in
All right.
some staircase
All right,
back
so
there.
why don't we move along here and look at those monument signs, okay?
Yep, sure.
But just to clarify, everyone's all right with the Triple Crown Restaurant and Bar?
Yes.
Yeah, you're good, okay, yeah. And how about the,
But didn't we already approve the Triple Crown We figured
Well,
that out.
this was a revision, correct?
It's a revision.
Yeah,
Font sizes
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
No, yeah, just the addition of restaurant and bar.
right, right. Okay. And then on the events itself, I think well, Jane's not it, I don't believe, but
It's only
Greg?
3 inches, but
Okay. I mean, aesthetically, you're good with it?
I'm good with it, but I
Yeah.
think that it's too big a word. But that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
If it's approved, it may not be approved because it's,
Yeah.
not in code.
I don't think there's any better synonyms, to be
Yeah.
honest. So,
Right. Okay.
Things.
Anyway, unfortunately, we have to light.
please,
somehow.
fairs
So we've got
at a hotel.
So
It's
there's three
three, yeah.
There's three existing monument signs.
Mhm.
One is at the corner of Lancaster and Radnor Chester Road.
And again, Valerie, can you use the mic, please?
Oh.
Yeah.
Forgetting. One is at the corner of Lancaster and Radnor Chester Road, and this one is a single-sided sign. So here, if you can see, there's a tenant cabinet existing, and we're just basically taking over these two tenant spaces, like for like, and proposing Triple Crown's name here. The black background would be opaque and just the letters illuminated.
Okay. So that is 1G, that sign?
Yes,
Okay,
1G.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. How do you guys feel about that?
So no square footage change, just like for like.
All right. So the address will be 591 and 595 on the pillars.
That's existing, yeah.
That's existing.
I
That's
think
not gonna
that's,
change.
that's the whole address of
Right,
the
okay.
entire property.
Colin, you right there?
The Radnor Hotel size and font is changing too,
That's on 2G.
it appears.
You're looking at 2G.
Yeah.
No, it's just,
1G.
I'm sorry, I was jumping ahead. Yep.
it's okay. No, we're just taking over these two panels.
On 1G,
Yes, on 1G.
thank you, sorry.
And
I
it's
was-
just, it's a single-sided sign.
And the Radnor Hotel stays just as it is? No alteration?
Yeah,
Okay.
no change.
So two panels go out,
Existing,
Triple Crown comes
proposed.
on?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
yep.
All right.
Existing's 11.75, proposed, same.
Yeah,
It's big.
it's existing, so, yeah.
Big as Radnor.
Right.
What's
Right.
big? Oh, it's 9 inches high. They're 9-inch letters.
Okay.
We're not changing any sizes. It's the
Right.
same size. It just may, these drawings are a little,
Compared to the Radnor Hotel sign.
they're a little misleading.
I agree, yeah. Okay, so should we look at 2G?
Yeah, 2G, so the next two monuments are the same size, and they're both double-sided. I measured them myself. And we're just refacing the Radnor Hotel ID portion of the monument sign, and basically sharing that now. So it's basically like, what, 1/3, 2/3? And again, we're just refacing what's there, like for like. Routed aluminum sign, push-through acrylic copy, so you'll have that little halo lighting. And that's pretty much it on that. We're just refacing the existing signs.
What do you guys feel about that?
45 square feet, proposed 45.
Yeah. And then one question I have, but I'll let you guys, Jane or Greg,
yeah, it's okay.
any comments? The one question I have is the 1G, the Radnor Hotel is outlined in white. Wouldn't you want some consistency on the other two signs, other two monument signs?
We're kind of limited because we wanted spacing between Radnor Hotel and Triple Crown.
Mhm.
And I did ask Mr. Bages and Mr. Birch if they wanted that, and they did not.
Okay.
So they gave this to me as they wanted it.
I think that what Bob's saying is not between the Radnor Hotel and Triple Crown, but around the edge of that sign.
understand.
Notice the white?
This is what Joe Birch gave me that he wanted, and I just drew them up.
Why is it not consistent with the other one? You could just take the two top panels again.
They're not the same size.
Yeah, they're not.
Signs.
Right.
These two are the same size. This one isn't. But yeah, I just kind of, we don't need to touch that, so he wants to leave that alone, and I did ask him if he wanted to border, but we're kind of limited, because,
You, I don't know what the
I mean,
tickets are.
we
There's
could
future
add it in
tenants or
vinyl
future
if we wanted
spaces,
it.
but you have 6 slots for tenant representation on the banner and only 4 being used, just like in 1G. And then you go to 2G and you change the whole thing. Are there other tenants
It's,
going to be?
it wasn't my, that's the landlord's prerogative. They didn't want us to have them, they wanted us to share this.
You wanted
we
you to
were-
share on the Radnor marquee component.
Yeah,
Yes.
What's that? I'm sorry.
They wanted you to share with the Radnor marquee. On the
Yes,
2G,
yeah,
as
I had
opposed to
asked him,
1G, Where it's separate as if you.
yeah,
were-
I had asked them that, yeah. That's what they had told us that they wanted.
you're right.
It's just inconsistency, I think, that has people.
It's, I mean, it,
Yeah, exactly,
There's a
is
couple
simpler.
things that are consistent.
yeah. Okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can, maybe add a perimeter.
Maybe we request that you update the Radnor Hotel sign above the new larger Triple Crown, so they are all consistent.
About G1,
I'm talking about, yeah, G1, 1G.
yeah.
Maybe that's a compromise.
It
So,
could've-
that's a lot of expense. But
I was
or
gonna say it was purely probably expense.
Okay.
Okay,
Like, you know what I mean, if you didn't have to redo their sign,
no, I understand.
yeah. I mean, I'm assuming that was their, like,
Okay.
what the thought
Payments,
process
yeah.
was.
But they're redoing the sign on 2 other monument signs, so what's the big difference to make one? I mean,
I'm sorry, what was that?
I would say that I prefer 1G.
You prefer?
I think it looks a little better, to be perfectly honest with you, and it kind of separates the 2 businesses, and, because they are 2 businesses, right? 2 owners, 2 businesses. So,
That's my call.
Tim, what's your take?
I personally just don't like the inconsistency, but I can't say that I have too much of an opinion on it. I think it's kind of silly to have one sign still with the border around the Radnor Hotel, whereas the other one, you remove the border around the Radnor Hotel. Because practically speaking, if you take 1G and you take the border around the Radnor Hotel off of the top sign, then it ends up being the same look as 2G, pretty much. And then you just have the consistency between the 2.
Well, this one's on the corner, and it's by itself, and, right, and it's single-sided, and these 2 are double-sided, and one's at one end, right, on Lancaster, and one's at the other end. So they're not even near each other, these 2. They're not even on the same road. So it's not like you're looking at everything together. It's kind of like,
Yeah, but I guess the question is, what's that have to do with consistency? Because they're far apart, they don't have to be consistent looking?
they're not, you don't see 2 at one time. You're looking at one, but,
Maybe
I mean,
not at the same
that.
time, but
if maybe we could just put a little vinyl border around it and make it look, maybe I'll just have to tighten it up a little bit. I just don't want it to look so busy, I mean, we could possibly do that, see if that works.
In our motion, can we make the suggestion that the applicant look at, possibly put in a border to keep consistency?
I mean, do you want it or not? Because, I mean, this
Yeah,
is a pretty central business and a big property within the township.
Right.
It's right at a busy intersection, so it is, in terms of the purview of trying to have consistency, I think it's within our ability to say what we would like to see there.
Sure.
So.
I would like to see.
If you want to see it, then I'd say you say we should see it. If you
Right.
don't want to see it, then that's fine. I personally, I think it's silly to have 2 different signs, but I can't say that that's the business decision, that's the business decision. It's not going to affect me too badly.
Okay.
They're the same blacks.
Okay. And is there any reason why the 2G and 3G do not have the addresses on the pillars?
We're not, this is as they are. We're not
Okay.
changing anything for
Okay.
the landlord.
All right.
I mean, the hope is that this sign is going to last and that the business is going to last, and we want the business to do well, and we want it to do well for a long
Right.
time.
Right.
So now is the time to look at it.
Okay.
We could go back to calling it the Treadway.
Dating yourself there.
Glen Morgan, what was it before Glen Morgan?
Did you ever consider a crown in the middle of the O instead of the dot?
Changing the,
I think that's the
Way
font.
too busy.
changing the W to a crown?
Yeah, there you go.
yeah. Okay, all right.
Okay.
So is there any other questions we have?
One.
Comments, questions?
Is the recommendation to look for some consistency in the signage?
Well, I'm going to ask Tim to make the motion for approval, and
Okay.
Well, what are we going with? I think that's the question.
I would like to see consistency.
So either consistent with a border around the Radnor Hotel or no border around the Radnor Hotel on both signs.
On all sides.
That's what I mean, yeah.
I'm a border guy.
You want border?
I want border.
You want border, all right.
How about,
Border.
As long as it's consistent.
okay. Colin?
I'm for consistency, and I'm in favor of what's proposed. But all of them to match.
Yeah.
You'd
One
rather
way or
see
the
a
other.
border or no border?
No borders.
You'd rather be no border, okay. All right,
Yeah, it's more important that they all match.
Then I'll leave it, I think we leave it to them.
okay.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
I don't need to see, I personally don't need to see it again,
yes,
because we've seen it here.
right,
Okay.
okay. All right. Any other comments or questions for the applicants
Well,
tonight?
the only other comment I have is some signs have five, and one has four, right?
What's that?
You talking about
No.
panels?
Yeah, they're different size signs. Like G1 is not as big as,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say. G1's not as big as the other two.
All right.
I'm just saying, I was wondering, did
Okay.
one tenant leave already?
Okay. No. You guys have any other questions for the boards, comments or questions? Valerie?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. Justin, you're okay with everything? Okay. All right, so can we ask Tim to make a motion for approval?
I'll try.
Thanks.
In the matter of DRB 2024-14, I move to approve the revised entrance sign above the restaurant and bar. I move for contingent approval of the sign at 595, as presented, based upon review and approval of it, complying with the code to have the sign there. And move to approve contingently, well, I guess, move to approve the application for the 3 ground signs so long as all 3 ground signs are consistent with either having a border around the Radnor Hotel or having no border around the Radnor Hotel portion of the sign.
Okay. Do we hear a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. I'm sorry. Comments, Valerie?
I'm sorry. So you just want it around the Radnor Hotel itself? You don't want it around the whole perimeter? Is that
As long as
where
it's
you want?
consistent.
But they're
But
not
what you
consistent.
presented to us here are 2 different images. You have one image with it around the Radnor Hotel, and then having the Triple Crown having
Because
no
we're
border
not, yeah,
around
because
it.
we're not touching that portion, so so do you want it around the whole perimeter underneath Triple Crown? No,
Mr.
but,
Radnor, tell me.
It's the Radnor
not gonna
Hotel
work.
part.
Hotel,
That's
yeah.
what's been presented. This image in 1G would essentially have the perimeter around Radnor Hotel with the border.
just the Radnor Hotel, so.
So if you were going to add the border onto 2G, it would be around the Radnor Hotel. Or have no borders.
I think we tried all that, I think it didn't look good.
And if need be, you can always come back and visit us again next month, so, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I just,
All right.
Right.
Okay. You guys are all set? Any other questions? You good?
no.
Okay.
Good. Thank you,
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
And Lisa, did you get all that? Just, okay. Okay, next on tonight's agenda is DRB 2025-15, the application at Glenbrook Medical Building at 864 County Line Road for exterior renovations. Thank you. Good night now.
My name's, Brian Delso from the Omni Group Architects. And this is,
I'm David Hoplamazian. I actually live in Radnor Township, and I also own this building at the 864 county line. It's also known as 864 Glenbrook. If you don't mind, I'll just give you a minute of history, if you don't mind. Sure. I bought the building in 2012, and I don't think anything's been done to the building for decades. It's really in poor condition. So there was 4 existing tenants, and right when I came in, immediately I put a new roof on the building, has pitched roof, has flat roof, and then had to do all the HVAC, redid that. Also redid all the tenant spaces, et cetera, in all effort to keep the existing tenants that's right across, I don't know if you know where this is, right across from the new addition at Bryn Mawr Hospital. So I've been pecking away at this, and the tenants have been extremely happy, and it's, you know, it is a great location, great spot, has a parking lot, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, my last and final thing I want to do for these tenants is really dress up the outside. It's in a poor state, to say the least. I've been kind of doing it from the inside out. So that's what brings me here today. I just want to give you that little bit of background. After 12, 13 years, I'm finally to the point I want to get this thing looking like it belongs across from the hospital in the township.
Nice.
This is Brian, the architect. I'll let him present the idea.
our approach is really to give it some curb appeal with using a couple of items, enlarging the front element to give it a little bit more height and presence on the street, and to add a canopy with some color that will also address catching your eye as you're driving down the street. The materials we chose for the front are pretty simple. Brick veneer in between, that's color 1. There's a Nichiha panel, which is color 2, which we have samples of. Hardy board siding, which is color 3 in between the 2 panels there, and the red Aluka Bond canopy that projects about 2 feet from the face of the building. That's the only thing we've added as far as a projection to the building. You can see in this picture here, it's pretty flat, so we're taking off all of this material, cleaning it up, keeping the windows where they are, swapping out the windows. We're not sure if they're going to be casements or fixed at this time. Black frames. So that was more or less the approach to the front of the building. We're also addressing the back, much a little simpler, with a new covered entry, using some of the same materials, Nichiha on the back, and painting what's not being shown here, and a new set of steps, new storefront glass, and a new ADA ramp off the back of the building. There's a ramp there now. It doesn't meet code, so we're trying to make it a little more safe for people to get in and out of the building. So those are the materials that we have. I have samples here if anybody wanted a closer look at the colors. I'll bring those over.
So which side do you consider the front and the back?
I'd say Glen side's the front.
Glen side's front?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is that
Glenbrook.
county line?
Or
Sorry.
You would say county lines are front.
Yeah,
Yeah.
county line.
I agree. And county lines across from the hospital.
Right.
It's a tough place to get in and out of, like, isn't it?
Yeah, we addressed that.
County line is tough to get in and out of.
Yeah.
Glenbrook is excellent.
Right.
There's a 18-spot lot right behind the building.
There is that
Yeah,
large.
it's part of this building, 18 spots. So Glenbrook is actually excellent, and that's where most of the pedestrian traffic would be, and that's where the ADA ramp is.
In your plans, are you going to have a drop-off in the front along County Line Road?
Yeah, that's the front.
Correct. That would be just a drop-off.
So there'll be no longer parking as such along County Line, or is it just going to
No,
be a
it's-
pull-up and drop-off?
It's extremely dangerous to park
Yeah.
there because you have to back out onto the street to get out.
Exactly.
So we've taken that, you see on the drawing here, we've turned that into a loading and drop-off. There's an entrance in the front and the back, so you can pull in. We have some site work to do, obviously, and get a site engineer out there, but there's curb cuts in there now, one on each side to get in and get out. So it's just a little bit of making sure that we're meeting code for a drop-off. We're going to abandon those spots. It's just too dangerous.
So the front elevation with the new walk and grass is not.
There's no grass.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes.
Do you have what he's showing there? Because we don't have that in our packet, those,
I don't
the
think we
site
have a
plans.
site plan.
Yeah, the zoning officer asked for that
Do you have
yesterday
copies?
at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It'll just help them to see it and us to see it.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
So you're going to take out the existing landscaping, but are you ready to show that?
There's,
just yet
yeah,
or
there's not much there now
Yeah.
in the way of land, just shrubs in front of the building. We're going to dress that up. Dave's pretty good at the landscape stuff, as
Yeah.
everybody
Do you
knows.
have a landscaping plan?
Not yet.
I bet you can come up with one, right?
That's not a
Part
problem.
of the ordinance to
Yeah, I-
have that.
No, I know.
That's not a problem.
Okay. Would it be a problem for you to stop back and show us the landscape plan at
No.
a future date?
No, not at
Okay.
all, not at all, yeah.
Or drop it off to the office.
If you want to review
I
it.
know that.
Yeah, I'm not just doing this to, flip a building or something. Like I said, I wanted to give you that history. The goal is to make this building fit into what's there. So doing a landscape plan is not a problem at all. That's not a problem.
Unless the board, I know it's going to be done, and it's going to be done right, so.
The front, this front entrance, that's county line that you're showing here.
Yes.
But there's really not an entrance because trying to get from county line would be pretty tough, right?
There's a drop-off in the front.
I realize that, but I'm just saying the front that you have with the rendering with the walkway and the grass is the view from county line.
Correct.
There'd be few people dropping people off in front of that building, right? Just so I know the functionality.
Well, there's not going to be any grass there, obviously, but there's enough room to,
It's a car length.
there's 3 cars. Right now, there's 4.
Car length deep between the street and the curb and the front of the building.
Yeah.
It's not much.
Oh, no. It's one-way pull-in. I imagine but it'll be engineered. Make sure we get it to work.
Okay. All right, so why don't we go back to kind of ground zero? The facade changes, materials, you guys are good with
I have
that?
a question about the materials. Can you just review so one of the things you try to do is, is it functional? Does it look pleasing to people? Is it usable? And how's it gonna look in 10, 15, 20 years? Is it gonna stand the test of time? So obviously, we'll go with number 3, hardy board. We know that's gonna last forever, so that,
Yep.
we won't have to have a conversation about that. Brick veneer, it's brick, it's gonna last a while. Can you elaborate a little bit on number 2, the niche and the aluminum composite panels? Is there a warranty, or how long is that gonna last? How long is it gonna maintain its colors? Does the manufacturer give any of those specifications so whether you know that it looks nice now, that in 10 years, the hardy board looks great and the brick veneer looks great, but the other 2 components and compositions are no longer looking as you're presenting them here?
The Nietzsche has the same exact material as hardy board. It just goes on in a different system.
The niche is the same as the hardy board?
Yeah, if you want to see.
I believe you.
Aluga Bond, it's a powder-coated aluminum. It's used everywhere, every day. I think the warranties are 20 or 30 years on the color. I know Nichiha has I think it's a 30-year.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gonna fit the 3 check boxes.
Yeah.
Usability, design.
Yep.
Okay, so materials are good?
Yeah.
Okay. Design, you guys like the design and all?
You primarily medical tenants?
Yes, yes. 1 physical therapist, a dentist, psychiatrist, and a family practice doctor.
Then the red has some type of, it does have a draw with the medical field, so I like the usage there.
Yes. And again, trying to complement the hospital across.
Additional lighting on the building?
Right now, we're proposing 2 wall sconces and probably a directory sign. I think we might have some recessed lights in the recessed foyer on the way in, but they'll be lighting at the door.
Okay. So the signage, I don't think you guys are ready to propose signage tonight, so we'll ask you to come back.
Yeah.
with signage, and, I mean, if you want to come back with a landscaping plan at that point.
Yeah, I think
just-
that'd be a very simple
Just to take a
plan,
look,
just
yeah,
as a-
Okay,
But
you got your work to do.
as long as you're coming back. So, okay, all right. The ramp, everybody's good with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. An address number on the building, we just need that somewhere.
Yeah, that'll be part of when we put in for
Probably
the
front
signs.
and back, I
Yeah.
imagine, yeah. Okay. Are you gonna put new sidewalks in? Or
Yeah, any of the site work in the front and the back would all be new.
all new sidewalks?
So yes, the sidewalks would be all new, yes.
Good. What else, guys? What else do you want to let us know about the plan?
I think that's really it, just, I just want to make sure we come back with the right things the next time. So it'd be the landscape plan, sign plan.
what about lights? The lights on this one?
Yeah, if you could bring in some lighting.
And lighting.
Yeah.
So landscape, lighting, and signage.
Yeah.
You're looking for
Okay.
a lighting layout on the, in plan? A lighting layout in plan? Or?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Are you asking us to make lighting selections for the outside?
Well, I know the township in the files likes to see the sconces, the cuts and
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
if you could bring that back.
Sure.
Just for the files and everything, so, all right. And, what other questions? Comments, questions?
No?
Guys are good? Okay. Tim,
No,
you're
I
good?
think it looks good. Best of luck with it. I
Colin?
think it's a nice improvement. I used to jog by that thing every day, so.
It needs some help.
Yeah.
So,
It's the proposed railing.
I'm sorry, your mic.
do we call that black powder coated or stainless?
It'll be black powder coated.
Would
probably.
black powder coated be okay?
Yeah,
I think that would make sense with this look.
just looking almost like it was glass or something, but,
No,
Okay.
we don't show it because it's a lot of,
okay.
gets in the
Thank
way.
you.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
You want to take the motion? Excuse me, you guys, any other comments or questions for the board?
No, we'll come back with those three things, hopefully next month, the landscape, the lighting, and the signage.
Okay, so
Yeah.
in order to get on the April agenda, which is, the meeting is April 9th, you must submit everything by March 19th. So that doesn't give you a lot of time, about a week or so.
All right.
What's your
We'll shoot
timeline?
for it. Worst, I'd like to do it while the weather, the weather's going to start getting good. I like to do it this year in the summer. So worst case, if we don't get to you till May, you do have a May meeting, right? That's the worst
Yeah,
case.
No problem at all.
Okay. And then the next steps would be for me to go across and get construction permit after we got through this?
They'll take care of it,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Matter of DRB 2025-15 Glenbrook Medical Building, 864 County Line Road. Move to approve exterior renovation, front and rear facade improvements, including ADA ramp and covered entry. Move for approval.
Okay, do we have a second?
I
Tim?
second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Lisa, you got that? Tim was two, second. Okay. All right. Thank
Best
you,
luck, guys.
gentlemen. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Good evening. Is this on? Do I have to hit it? Katie Regan, architect with Dirk and Edson.
Oh, okay, let me just introduce you first. Next is DRB 2025-16, the application of Eastern University at 1300 Eagle Road for three-story addition on the Eagle Learning Center and a two-story addition on the west side of the gymnasium building. Welcome. Hi.
Thank you, guys. So I'll start that again. Katie Regan with Dirk and Edson.
I'm Jim Hocker, project manager, also with Dirk and Edson Associates,
Okay.
Lancaster County. Just a quick, and with us is,
How you doing? Eric McNally, Director of Athletics at Eastern.
Okay, great.
thank you. Thanks. So there's, as you see in the application, there's two projects. One is an addition to what's called the Eagle Learning Center. And then that's a building that you can see a little bit of it off of Eagle Road. And then the second is an addition onto the existing gymnasium building, so in that southwest quadrant of the Eastern University campus. So both projects are for Eastern University. And just as a quick overview, and then Katie can get more into the
Okay.
materials of the additions, but as an overview, we are processing the plans through the township approval process. We've been before zoning hearing board for parking, and we've been to planning commission for the overall campus-wide institutional long-range master plan, as well as the specific projects have gone through planning commission. And then also, we're in process with, the project's been presented to Board of Commissioners at the preliminary land development level, and then we still are going through final land development since they did their resolution this past Monday evening. And we have also been before Shade Tree Commission, I think twice at least. So we're in process with land development and the various steps, and thought this would be good timing to get in front of zoning hearing board and just get eyes on the proposal. So.
Okay, good. All right.
Thank you, Jim.
Katie, there's the mic right there, if it's easier.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, now it's on. Do you have a preference which building we go through first?
Your choice.
All right, we'll start with the gym. So as Jim mentioned, this is an addition to Eastern University's existing gymnasium. We are taking down a small two-story section, two-story wing, and building up against the existing gym. So in our elevation, so north elevation, this is facing the fields. It's facing inwards on campus. The south elevation is facing an approach drive that is also internal to campus. East elevation is existing, and then west elevation faces what we're going to propose as our parking lot, which you saw on the plan. So I'll go through the materials. So I'll start with a little bit of context. So this is the existing gym building. This is the wing that's coming down. The existing materials and some of the surrounding buildings on campus are more of a masonry material. We have a lot of different colors, textures. This is an ephes, however you pronounce it, which is textured, and so we have a lot of these warm tones, a lot of the maroon, which is the Eastern University primary color. So taking inspiration from the existing, we are actually proposing an ACM, which we just talked about, the aluminum composite panel. In our specifications, we're actually proposing a leucobond, which we just talked about. So our colors, so we have our three colors. ACM 3 is our darkest color, that's our accent color. ACM 2 is slightly darker, so you can see the materials that we brought in a little different from what was rendered on the printed plan. And ACM 1 is our lightest color. At the base, we have a ground face masonry water table. This carries over from the existing ground face CMU that's on the existing building. So we're taking some of that continuity around, but we're also bringing in a material that has some of those warm tones that's really going to complement our ACM panels, as well as some of the other masonry materials that are surrounding the rest of the field. Our exterior doors and windows are a mix of hollow metal for our functional man doors. Those will be painted to match as closely as possible, so they just kind of blend into that first floor. And then our punched opening and curtain wall is a clear anodized aluminum. So the nice thing about all these materials, as we just mentioned with a leucobond, is they have 20+ year warranties. We are doing a dry seal system. So it's a rain screen exterior wall system that gives us the benefit of doing above and beyond insulation to meet energy code. So we actually have our insulation inboard of the wall and then another rigid insulation outboard. Then we have our aluminum panels. Now, because we're doing a dry reveal system, you will not have to worry about sealant peeling out. There's none of that. So all of these reveals that you can kind of see, well, you can't really see on the overhead. All of these reveals are going to be rigid reveals. We're not going to have to fill them with sealant. And then I had glazing options. So the glazing is going to be, it looks a little dark in there, a gray tinted. The benefit of this is that it also is going to give us really good climate control inside in terms of solar heat gain and our energy usage.
If you said it, what is that space?
Oh, this glazed space, this is a large tiered seating conference room. So Eastern University is going to be using that as their primary team room for alumni, large meetings, when they have to bring in their 100-plus player football team. They can also bring in multiple teams at a time for like nutrition presentations. So that is kind of like the showcase of that portion of the addition. And then what I've covered up over here.
Is this where the pool is?
The pool, yeah, is like behind it, yeah. So the pool is getting
Pool's
demoed.
getting filled?
Pool's getting demoed. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yep.
So what do you guys think so far? I think it looks real good, yeah. Good. Greg, you're good?
What is the actual color of the, is it, I'm going to say red, but
This actual color is almandine garnet metallic.
okay.
We also,
That's the paneling around the curtain wall?
that's the darker red paneling, yes.
Okay.
We have also written our specifications to, if for any reason we need to change color, to select from the manufacturer's full range. This is what we're proposing. This is what we would like to do.
Is that close to the Eastern logo color?
Yes, it's a little bit darker. I also picked one that had a bit more of a brown hue to it because it doesn't fade, but also thinking it's going to be up there for 20, 30, 40 years. We've installed these systems in buildings, 10 plus years ago, and they're still doing fine. But I just wanted to avoid the potential of it getting a little pinkish because I know that is a concern with maroons and reds. So that should not happen. It has a warranty.
There are a bunch of brown tone colored buildings on campus anyway.
Yeah, across the way, there's a lot more stone, warm stone masonry. Yeah.
Yeah, they use a lot of sort of the old terracotta, historical, some of those old
Yeah.
historic estates have that. It's nice.
Okay. All right, so far we're good?
Yeah.
Okay. What else do you want to show us on the building?
For this building,
Yeah, lighting,
oh yes, we can look at.
And then can you just go over the new entrance?
Sure.
Oh, and on the site?
I think you were starting to get to there and we got sidetracked.
Sure. Do you want to pull the?
That consists of a new bridge?
Right, so on the,
More curious than anything.
No, not a problem. And this has been a subject of some review at Planning Commission, you might imagine. And so over here is the neighborhood. There's Fenimore and Fairview. That will be a gate-controlled entry. So this really won't have access out to the neighborhood any longer. And that's an agreement that had been put in place for some time, as I understand, between the Township and the Eastern University. So that'll finally come into its being as a controlled entry. It would just be really emergency use only, or like there's a tree that had fallen overnight and they need to get in there. And
So that's card
and clean it.
access only in the future?
Yes.
Right, emergency access, card access only. And that was we were able to commit to that because that's the only way into the gymnasium now. The way it's cut off by the creek on the campus. So that's why this bridge, which is under construction now, and all the environmental permits had been completed, that bridge will be allow this to be closed off because now we'll have access from the internal campus loop driveway that goes through. And so that bridge will make this a better access internally. And then you can flow out to Eagle Road out by the ELC. So part of the site plan was this drop-off for visiting buses. This has been enlarged, so you could make that turn through there. There's all the accessible ADA code-compliant parking. There's the lighting for the parking lot, and then parking lots, and then any required or just landscaping and required landscaping in general. So the landscape plans, the lighting plans were included as part of the package, and it's the same plans that was reviewed by the township with the planning commission reviews. So they, I think they've already gotten reviewed. We've responded to some comments. I think we're in good shape on the landscape and lighting, just at that
Now, I looked at the landscaping plan, and your plant selection is very good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll let our landscape architect know that. Yeah, Denise back at the
Mixing it up.
office. So yeah, this
You
is,
actually have it.
that's just the landscape plan, plan schedule. So part of it was to there's not really landscaping in this parking lot now if you go by there. So we did our best to soften that and include landscaping and trees. You know, there'll be some impact, but as they grow in, it should get better and better as those trees mature and sort of soften this view into the campus. So that was the intent, as well as we added some screening and evergreens around this parking lot, again, just in the interest of the driveway that goes internally through the campus. So yeah, I think Eastern has gotten a lot of good feedback on the campus, and it's, you know, it's an attractive place within the township, and so we're, you know, just doing our best to be sensitive with the additions, the drives, and then the landscaping, so it feels like it belongs. We're not dropping in a brand new building standalone. These are additions to really what's there, and hopefully making it better.
The only thing I can recommend about landscaping, and it's your landscape, is that trees don't like living in parking lot islands because
Right.
they're very hot and dry. So I would recommend that you plant more heat-tolerant ones or smaller growing ones. Like tall trees can't live in a 5-foot island. You know.
Right. Yeah,
But it's your parking lot. You
that's a
can do what
good
you
point. Yeah, we did make these islands a little larger than most, so to give them some more space. But yeah, that point well taken. We'll look at that. Shall we?
One more
do you-
question.
Oh, yeah.
The south side across from the drop-off, is that a dumpster?
There is a proposed trash enclosure there.
Okay, just curious.
Right here, and that would serve the
right.
gymnasium
Thanks.
as a whole, yes. So yeah, we ran the bus and trash and fire truck movements through the parking, the drives, the intersections as part of the review thus far.
And then what's all the paving around the building? Is that concrete, or is that pavers, or the pink on the site plan?
Right, that is basically sidewalk and concrete.
Okay.
Yeah, concrete sidewalk. It is, it abuts the existing turf field there now. And then for like events, this plaza area, there would be a significant entry and a larger lobby. I don't know if you've been to that building. It's a little cramped.
Tough parking lot.
Tough parking lot. We're making it better. We're making the lobby a lot larger, so people in and out of there for games will just be a better accommodation all the way around.
It signifies positive growth.
Positive growth, yes. Yeah, I mean, Eric can attest that so even though the on-campus population of like students living there is really not growing, but the interest in athletics is what's growing and helps get that traditional like 18 to 22-year-old population residential campus kind of engaged and you know, hopefully being academically successful. The growth that Eastern's seen with enrollment is largely like online and remote remote learning and some of those certificate programs. But the on-campus populations, it's relatively stable. It has, you know, ups and downs. But.
Okay, good. What's the proposed schedule?
Well, we're going through land development. At this point, the goal would be to start construction in the fall, maybe later fall.
Just curious, I live in that neighborhood.
Yeah, there's some construction that had been happening for the locker rooms. That was last summer.
Yeah.
So there's been some ongoing interior renovations at a number of places around campus.
A lot going on campus.
Yeah, so it's just they're cycling through some renovations and getting things up to code, and there's some older buildings that needed attention.
So the lighting for the parking lot, is it going to be consistent throughout the campus, or is it, you're proposing something new, or?
Yeah, this is a light standard that they had been using. I think the goal would be to start using it more consistently. So it's a controlled light. It would be LED, so more energy efficient, yes.
Okay. All right. And you have that in the plan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what all these numbers mean? I'm just curious, was that what all these little numbers mean?
Oh, the numbers is like a photometric plan, so it,
How far away?
yeah, it denotes the light levels, so the township's able to check that the lighting is proper for the walkways and parking, but then once you get to the property line, it's cut off to basically zero, so there's no spill over the property line. Yeah, they're foot candles, that's what it is.
Gotcha.
You got it, yeah. That's
So
right.
I imagine eventually you'll put signage on those buildings?
Eventually,
Okay.
eventually.
So we'll see again?
Yes.
Okay.
For specifically the sign.
Yeah, we recognize that the signage is an important part, so that would have to be a separate review.
Okay.
Yeah, we did want to make sure we're solid on the buildings and the
Sure.
materials. And then eventually, once we had the details worked out, we would have to be back for signage.
Yeah, we're anticipating that would be a separate package.
Yeah.
We're going to run through bidding and construction with the facade as it's pictured.
Okay. All right, good. All right, so should we move on from the gymnasium? You guys are all okay?
Oh, yeah.
Greg, you're okay?
Very good,
What
yeah.
you see there? Okay. All right, you guys are okay with the gym? All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to the Eagle Learning Center.
So I'll just say a couple things about the site plan, since we're on that, and then turn it back over to Katie. So Eagle Learning Center, this is Eagle Road at the top of the sheet, King of Prussia Road, probably familiar. And then they call this Eagle Learning Center. It's also known as Centennial Hall now. And the building addition would just be this darker blue in the rear, not particularly visible from Eagle, and it would be in a similar style to the building that's there now. And then these reddish areas are simply the brick entryways that are like, that's what it is now. We're just replacing the brick, same style that's there now, and then a brick entry into this addition. There is some proposed parking here, and then this smaller proposed lot by Sparrock Hall. So Sparrock Hall's not changing, just trying to pick up parking spaces so there's no net loss in parking for the campus overall. That was important for zoning. And then like,
Elevator stair tower, or what's the addition?
oh, the addition is offices and admissions.
So Eastern's moving their admissions department, their staff from, I think, Workman, because of all the work that's going on there, no pun intended, over to ELC, now Centennial Hall. So we recently completed an interior renovation so that their admissions department can host families. So we renovated the entry lobby and what was their student lounge to actually be more like welcome reception room. So the interior we've renovated with richer finishes, with this darker, warmer storefront. So you'll see that play through on the addition. So now the addition is an additional meeting area for presentations to families on the first floor. The second floor is their office work area. There's an open work area and then a smaller kind of collaborative space. And on the third floor will be conference space that's going to be campus-wide usage.
What's the square footage of the addition? Just the footprint?
don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's about 1,000. It's not, the footprint's not that big. We were trying to keep it under 1,000 for land development issues, but then that ship sailed. But it didn't grow that much bigger.
Yeah.
I want to say it's like 3,300 is
Yeah,
the
so
gross, so the footprint's
so
a
the
little
ground
over
floor is
1,000.
roughly
Yeah.
1,100 square feet of building
Yeah.
addition on the floor, on the ground floor.
What's the material for the existing building?
The existing building, let me flip to some photos, is brick. So here's some photos of existing. It's an extruded brick on the orangey side. And the existing storefront and curtain wall that's there is like a painted yellow-ish. You can kind of see here, it's tan, but up close it looks a little yellowy. So we made the decision to move away from repeating that color and going with something that was darker and more complementary.
Fairly traditional brick building. I think it was built in,
Yeah. So we'll just talk about the brick right now. So the addition's going to be all brick with curtain wall. So in the field, this is the closest match. It's a Glengarry extruded brick. We also have in our spec, in case we need to make a last minute change for a closer match on site, for the contractor to provide brick from the full range. So we have a couple different options, but this on site, I believe, is the best match. It's almost exact.
So if I'm reading the plans correctly, the orange aerial view is the curtain wall portion, and then the other is the brick portion?
Sorry, can you pull the plan back and I'll point to it?
Sorry, just have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so back to the site plan, the dark blue, that's the building.
Okay.
That's it.
The orange, and maybe it wasn't the best rendering choice, it's because it's so eye-catching. That is simply brick that's on the ground.
Okay.
Ground surface brick.
Sorry.
Like brick sidewalk, basically. Brick sidewalk, because
Couldn't
it's,
tell if it was roof or not.
no, it's plan view. Yeah, it looks like that terracotta roof. Yeah, it was not a great choice there, but we're just trying to represent the brick pavers, if you will, on the ground as you
So
end.
the black box is the overhang in that red.
Yeah.
Is that, are we talking there? Or?
This.
Oh, the little projection, yeah, just so
That's the
we
overhang.
dashed in an overhang, so it's,
Thank you.
that's all that is, correct. Yeah, so,
I'm good.
yeah, maybe jump to the,
And what's the proposed roof on all buildings? TPO or something?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the gym was EPDM. We have a 60 mil flat and 60 mil reinforced flat and a 60 mil regular for that sloped area. So that'll all be faced with a metal fascia to match the metal on the building.
What's on the existing Eagle Learning Center roof? Is there solar panels?
There are solar panels up there. Yeah, over top of, I believe it's
Just look at
EPDM.
the satellite.
Yep. All right, so looking at our elevations, our renders, and this is where I think these materials are a little more important to see in person. The rendering looks a little dark, and I don't want people to freak out that the windows are black. They're not going to be black. So again, we are going to go with a tinted glass to match existing. So there's glass in the back. So you'll see a little edge of the existing building from all the views of our addition. So we're going to match that glass, which is a bluish gray tint.
Which is also good for birds.
Yeah,
Tend to see it.
yeah. We generally don't use clear. Also, again, the benefit of reducing solar heat gain, reducing transmittance. We have such good lighting inside the building. Yes, daylighting is important to bring that in for like well-being, but we don't need to be roasting our occupants. So we'll have a lightly tinted glass.
Different tinting than the gym?
They're going to be similar. I had selected the same, Guardian Glass SN68, where you're going to do gray on crystal blue or gray on gray. So it's going to be very, very similar.
Okay. I'm not opposed, I'm just curious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the nice thing about that is I know how we're going to have the same performance for both buildings.
They're very far away from each other.
And then our storefront is going to be dark bronze aluminum. This matches what's inside the building. And I know that's not quite your concern for the exterior elevations, but because we have been going through and renovating the downstairs, the first floor space for admissions, we're showing some continuity. And then our canopy, again, for this building, we will also approach signage at a later date, separate package. They do have signage to the front of the building. That is still their main entrance. So this is really going to function as a potential events, after hours, for admissions. So they will have signage on the building at the actual front entrance, which is where we're doing the drop-off and the parking. And I believe they already have ground signs for directional signage. We're not proposing to change those either. But for our canopy, we've selected a different ATAS metal, so formed metal fascia that will just be to match the existing, match the dark bronze storefront.
How will the canopy drain?
We have an internal drain. So if you look at, can you bring up the plan? It doesn't matter. So I have an internal drain on I'm calling it the front side here because it overhangs a little bit more. So that whole depth is actually a little bit of a parapet. So we have an internal drain. It's going to spout around. We have internal drains that are connecting out here to storm underground. Yeah. So same thing with
No ice buildup anywhere.
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
Great.
Yeah, it would be hard piped to a detention underground system.
Just confirming safety.
Yeah, so no downspout spilling to grade.
Correct. And then for lighting, okay, so there's our calcs for the parking lot. So we do have some site lighting for the parking lot itself, and as Jim mentioned, we will be using the same standard fixture and trying to implement that across campus. Oops, sorry. That's lighting for Spare Rock parking, if you care. I know that's not the building. And then for our actual building and entrance lighting, we just have we have two canopy-mounted downlights there to illuminate that entrance.
Where do you envision those welcoming hours to be? Just business hours?
Mostly business hours and weekends. It wouldn't be anything from my conversations with admission
Or
staff.
if there was an event at night?
Yeah. They said they do most of their work with families during business hours, but they will hold welcome weekends. That's like 10 a.m. to noon, those sorts of things.
Do you envision any seating out in that patio area?
No, we had just thrown a little table and chair there. They have a patio right now that we're taking over with this addition, and staff just like to go sit there. This is not necessarily like a gathering spot. It's more of just a large plaza for the entry, for people walking through.
Nice.
So some small furniture, no hardscaped permanent site furniture there.
Great, okay. All right, landscaping.
I already asked, it's fine.
We're good.
Well, this
We're all
is
good.
good, yeah,
Okay.
Same timeline as the gym?
They're in the same package for land development, yes.
Yeah, similar time frame. I think the construction may go a little quicker for this addition.
As opposed to the
The gym.
current? Or the
No, the gymnasium addition,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
a larger square footage.
What else would you like to show us? Is that about it?
That's all we have. Any questions?
I think we went through the whole package.
Greg,
Yeah.
comments? You're good? Jane?
I'm good.
All right, you happy with everything?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Tim?
Yeah. They own the garden, they're gonna take care of it.
All right, great. Colin, you're good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions for the board?
No, thank you.
Comments?
No, thank you for your time.
Jane, you want to take this one?
I knew you'd give this to me.
Okay, thanks.
I got it,
Do we need a motion on the materials or anything, or
What's the question?
is there a, should we expect any resolution on this presentation?
Oh, Jane's about to make a motion.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
And before she does, I'm just going to ask Justin. Justin, anything further to let us know about?
Nothing for this board. We have other discussion that will affect zoning, but nothing for this board.
Okay, great, thanks.
And you'll come back if there are any signs.
Yes, we will.
Correct.
So I'm for DRB 2025-16, Eastern University, 1300 Eagle Road, for one 3-story addition on the rear of the Eagle Learning Center and one 2-story addition to the west side of the gymnasium building. I move for approval.
Seconded.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great, Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Anything else for this board tonight? Any other business?
Welcome our new member.
Yeah, Greg, yeah, welcome. All right, well,
We don't promote more signage.
We have so many signs in this township. No, I know, I get,
more.
Get it all together.
kids, they like to draw on the.
All right, so we'll FaceTime tomorrow?
No,
Yeah, on the baseball.